Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. This is a very special episode of Coffee and Colorful Conversation. I have a special guest here with me. She is a member of the Hair Color Secrets Insider. If you're not familiar with that, it is my membership for hairstylists that want to become stronger, more confident colorists. Resulting in a higher income and easier, less stressful time behind the chair. And my guest today, I believe, is in her third year as an insider. We've gotten to know each other, and I just had the pleasure of having her here in person in St. Pete Beach, where I live. Her mom treated her to a weekend away at a beautiful Airbnb, literally minutes, walking distance from my home. Half a block from the beach, and we got together and did a very special hands-on, and we're going to chat about that and the experience. So I'm going to welcome Lindsay here. She was gracious enough to spontaneously do this. She just left on Monday. Hello, my dear.
Good morning.
Welcome. Thank you for doing this. I know I spring a lot of things on you, right?
Good. It's a good thing.
So Lindsay was here, and we planned on Saturday being our hands-on class. We had our little doll head set up, and Lindsay had a book full of questions for me that had come up throughout the membership. And anyone that knows me knows we are never sticking to any structure or plan or spreadsheet or any of those things. It's always an in-the-moment thing. And Lindsay's wonderful, beautiful mother came with her to the class, and I was like, doll head, let's do Nancy's hair. So we ended up spontaneously doing Nancy's hair, which if you're watching this, you're probably like, oh my God, I would crap my pants if I had to spontaneously do that. She was an absolute trooper. She did not stress or, fight it. She was like, oh my God, or no, oh my God, because she's from New York. Oh my God, this is great. So we did her mom's hair. And what happened was, it was great that her mom was here because we get familiar with our clients and we do the same thing we always do. And Lindsay, I know from chatting on the phone with her many times, is the queen of the baby light. She loves her some baby lights. And what happens with repeated baby lights, especially as close together as Lindsay's baby lights have been, you get this total sheet of overall blonde that becomes a single process. So let's talk about that, Lindsay, the difference between what we did with your mom, Nancy, what you had done, your aha moments of doing it a little bit different, I think would really help because there's many people watching that are in the same boat with either the overfoiling or the really close together super baby light.
Yes. So I am a crazy overfoiler. I use about 3 million foils per head. So it was so amazing to be able to have a one-on-one with Elaine. So if you ever get that opportunity, absolutely take it because it is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So what I learned is by strategically placing foils and only using a few foils, you really got a lot of dimension and you still got a lot of ground covered with the highlights. So instead of constantly going, foil, it was nice to only put, I think we did 14 foils on my mom. Is it 13 foils?
13,
so
yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, to see just kind of placing them in a perfect, way that you're not overfoiling. You're thinking about where you're placing it. You're stepping back from the head, looking at the head, and really thinking about where is it that she needs that little bit of extra dimension. So it's really amazing to be able to only put that many foils and get done in a half an hour instead of 5 hours. And it was really awesome to be able to see the difference in just using a few foils. So definitely a lesson learned right there for me, for sure.
So of course we didn't stop there. We didn't stop with, no baby lights. We're going to do slices strategically placed. And I explained to her the difference between a slice and a weave and the why. And then, she's looking around like, where's your board? Lindsay is a board foiler. So I was like, the board is fine. It's great. It has its place. I've never used a board until Christina Russell has these beautiful glitter boards. And I had her on the podcast and she said, what's your favorite color? I'm sending you one. And I said, oh, I don't know. Anyone that knows me, look at my name on here. Pink and blue, pink and blue, blue shirt, blue, beautiful necklace from Lindsay. I'm wearing my beautiful necklace. So blue and pink. And she said, okay, well, I'm just sending you both. So she sent me a blue and a pink sparkle board. And I was like, well, now I have to use the board. These are too pretty not to use. So for longer hair, for corrective things, for, really long hair with balayage and foils, I think it's really helpful. But for Nancy, who had, it's not really chin length, I guess a little bit longer than chin length bob, I find the board to be a little cumbersome and an extra step. So you were such a trooper, because anyone who's done anything, you're not right out of beauty school. You're 20 plus years into the industry. So it's like telling someone you can only brush your teeth with your left hand now. You know what I mean? That's how weird it feels. So you were such a sport about it. Like, you didn't look frazzled. I'm sure inside you wanted to kill me, but you learned how to foil, putting the foil straight into the hair with no fold over the comb. So it's one thing to give up your board, but yet another to give up the ability to do that little lip on the top. You're a lock and fold and push underneath person. So you were letting go of everything you've ever done after over 20 years. We were here for, I want to say 2 hours and 20 minutes in this class. That was it. So in 2 hours and 20 minutes, you completely changed the way that you foil. And then I'm thinking, as an educator, okay, she's showing off for me, but as soon as she goes back to her salon, she's going to whip out that board. She's going to whip out that fold. She's going to, because everyone does, right? It's just like exercise and everything else. So I'm like, we'll see. So we were out to lunch. We were at the beautiful Cambria Hotel where our event is next weekend. God. And we were both getting, I mean, you're getting bummed because you're not going to be here. I'm getting super excited because I'm like, this is so nice. We are surrounded by water, 360-degree view of water. And we're chatting about the coaching call. And you're like, do you mind if I come, instead of watching it on the Zoom, do you mind if I come and watch it at your house? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I'll have a live audience. That's amazing. So then when you were coming, I was like, you know what? People are sick of listening to me talk about hair color and talk about techniques and and it's super difficult for me in a live call with my members to be on a doll head. I have to, well, you've seen how rigged the camera is. I have to rig everything. It's
tricky.
My whole messy office shows in the thing, and people say I can't hear you because I'm too far away from the mic. So I was like, again, put you totally on the spot. If I were you, I would have killed me. So I'm like, you know what? I have a doll head here. How do you feel about being the educator tonight and actually doing the thing and me walking you through and sharing with all of the members what transpired yesterday and what made a shift for you? And you were like, cool, let's do it. And how funny was your mom? Her mom was, of course, in the class because she was the model the day before. And she's catching Lindsay doing, while I'm talking to the members, she's like, Lindsay, don't do that. Don't do that. She remembered the little things. It was so adorable because, number one, she absolutely loves and adores you. And she was the mastermind behind getting you here. It was like a wonderful surprise. And she's scheming with your husband and trying to surprise you, which was so amazing. But what I love about what happened with Nancy is this. My children, my husband, anyone who knows me knows just enough about hair color to be dangerous, and none of them are hairdressers. The difference being they're not hairdressers. Right. So they don't have to unlearn anything that they learned before they met me.
Right.
They're simply taking what I say and saying, oh, that makes sense. I'll do that.
Yes.
Where the problem for me is I have a boot camp coming up. My, semi-annual free boot camp starts on October 27th.
Yes.
So people will come. I've had the same people at almost every single boot camp who've never, well, you're a member, but there's people who come to every single boot camp and then never join the membership.
Right.
And they ask the same questions every single day in all 9 forums, including my own that's open to the public. They keep coming back and asking the same questions. I'm like, clearly you never took the morsel that you got from, more than a morsel. I give away a lot more than a morsel, but you didn't take
a bag of
that wow thing that you picked up in boot camp and ever do anything with it. You just
Right.
said, "Oh, that sounds cool." And you went back to your board and your fold and your whole thing. So kudos to you for not doing that. So
Thank you.
it was so amazing. I felt like a proud mother. I have the chills right now talking about it. Watching you do this foil right next to me. I was saying to Lindsay, Beth Minardi was always my mentor coming up in the industry, and I learned so much from her. Number one, if I was in her house, I'd be like, how am I in her house right now? Oh my God, this is
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
And then if she said, here, do this on camera, I would absolutely need a depend. I would say, I need to be excused. I need to go to the corner and to Dwayne Reed and buy a diaper and put it on. Like, are you kidding me? So that alone
Well,
is
that's
so
how
amazing.
don't get it twisted, Elaine. I was pretty close to that
You had
too.
one little turd, it just
One
didn't come
little
out. It was on the verge of coming out.
yes. And the thing is happening to I was on YouTube looking up videos, and that's how I found you. And that changed my whole career, changed my whole life because I would not be where I am today without you. And I just feel like being next to you and you having all that confidence in me, I felt confident because you were like, "Oh yeah, just go and do it. You're gonna do the training," and I'm like, "Oh,
Oh.
yeah, I guess I don't want to let you down." So I'm like, I have to do it. Like I can't say no to her. And you are my mentor. You're my dream, and the fact that I got to meet you. And I felt like it was my Mariah Carey moment meeting you and being able to have a class with you and even being in the membership. It's amazing because I know you're always in my corner and I always have you there just in case. And getting all this amazing information and learning how to be a six-figure colorist and learning how to do reds and highlights and all these amazing things. You can't get that just by going on social media and looking up, oh cool, these cool little formulations. Oh great, get a little tip here, a little tip there. Whereas being in the membership, you're going to school again pretty much. You're learning from square one and you're getting all these amazing pieces of information. And yes, I've been in the membership for 3 years. And what I love most is before a client, even if I know what I'm going to do, I'll still go back into the library and say, let me check out that highlight video again. Maybe I'll pick up something that I didn't pick up beforehand. So the information is unbelievable. The membership is unbelievable. And when I am confused about something, we have an amazing Facebook group that you can kind of post, hey, I have this client, what do you think? Just to kind of get that little bit of a feeling that you're on the right track, or if you have a question about a glaze or something like that. And having the camaraderie with all the people on Facebook is awesome too, or the members, which is amazing because there's no negative energy. It's all positive. Everyone wants you to do well, and that's what we're really here for. You want us to support each other and do well, and that's where I'm at. I feel like 2 years ago, yes, I've been in the industry forever, but I never understood color the way you're supposed to. I did not understand the color wheel. It was always a wing and a prayer, or hey, Susie, can you help me with this? I don't really quite understand that. But I never understood why they were mixing certain things together. I just kind of winged it. And now to be able to sit behind the chair and know what I need to do, and let's say I'm a little confused about it maybe that day, or maybe I want just that little bit of, hey, Aline, is this right? Even though I know it's right, but just to hear your voice say, absolutely, Lindsay, that's what you're supposed to do is just awesome. And I just feel so blessed that I was able to find you on YouTube, and here you are, you just pop out. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I just wanted to watch you over and over and over and over and over. I couldn't get enough of you. And the fact that I met you in real life and had a real live class, amazing. So anyone that's kind of on the fence, or, oh, maybe I want to do the membership, maybe I don't, you need to do it because you will never look back. And the information that you're going to get is like nothing else. And to have the relationship with Elaine, it's like Christmas in a cup. There's nothing better. So
I love
yeah.
that Christmas in a cup.
Yeah.
I loved the story that you shared with me about your California experience. So you went to Vidal Sassoon, which is the Holy Grail. I did the same thing. It was such a great education to the point where when I walked in there, I had my own salon and I had been behind the chair for 7 years. And I thought I was all that in a bag of chips. I thought I had it all figured out. I had a busy clientele at $28 for a haircut or whatever it was. I was like, I'm booked. I have a waiting list. I was booked with a waiting list because I was so cheap. My prices were so cheap, but I couldn't get that then. I just thought,
No.
oh, I'm great. Everybody loves me. They're coming to see me. So I felt like a total imposter. When I cut hair back then, I would just keep combing through and cutting stuff and pulling it all around. And then I'd go like this and
Yes.
be like, oh crap, it's not even. And then I'd go back in and do it all over again.
Yeah.
And I would read in magazines, I would read about Vida Sassoon and how much of a structured training program the school was. And I had at the time, 7-month-old baby. And I remember this like it was yesterday. It was in my first home that I don't even think about ever. And I'm in the basement was like our living room area. And I'm in the basement and I'm laying there and she's on my chest sleeping. And I'm flipping through Modern Salon. And yet another person was being written up that was from that school of Vida Sassoon, that crew. And I was like, oh, I don't have many regrets in my life. But one of my biggest ones is not going to a school like that before I had kids because it was intense. You had to go for a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like being away from my business for a week, being away from my baby for a week when she's 7 months old. I can't. It drives me crazy when I hear it back now. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I could. Of course I could. And my husband was sitting in the chair next to me and he said, why can't you? I said, because I'm a new mom. She's 7 months old. I have a business. And he goes, I'll take care of her. I'll take a week off from work. And I was like, you will? My daughter's now going to be 29. And like, still, I'm like, I can't believe that happened. I'm pinching myself.
Yeah.
Closed the salon. I had 2 girls working for me at the time. I said, we are all going to this school for a week. We're going to be different people when we leave. It was the most intense, awful. I mean, it was hard. I remember Stephen Moody was my teacher, which he's still in the industry.
Yeah.
And I'm like doing my thing. And he's like, this is not McDonald's. This is not McDonald's. Slow down. Watch your positioning. Stand up straight. It took me, I did my girlfriend's hair and I had to keep going through lunch. I was starving. I was exhausted. It took me 3 hours to cut a classic bob on her because she has so much hair. And I'll never forget it. I'll never not do a bob like that. Like it was like being in the Army all of a sudden.
Yes.
But what you shared with me, I want you to share with people watching when it came to color with Vida Sassoon and how you still had to keep faking it in this beautiful Beverly Hills high-end salon where you were charging triple what you're charging now all these years later.
Yeah. So when I went to Vida Sassoon for the color classes and I just couldn't understand what they were talking about. I didn't get it. I didn't get when they would say, oh, you have yellow, you're going to use purple to counteract the color. And I'm just sitting there like I'm in a class with a I have no idea what anyone's saying. Why am I not understanding this? But when I went out there, I ended up moving out to California and getting my California license. And I worked in a beautiful salon. Again, I still had no understanding of color. And I remember being in the salon doing a client and going, oh my God, she wanted to go back brown and she was as blonde as me. And I had no idea what to do. I'm dialing up my friend. And finally she answers the phone and she's like, oh, mix this. And just, that's it. I'm like, okay. So I did, and it worked out, but I still had no understanding as to why, what am I doing? Why am I doing that? I just didn't understand it. So it was honestly, it's such a horrible feeling when you don't know what you're doing. You just feel like you're almost blind and you can't see anything. And I think when I came back to New York and I had my kids, and then when I knew that I wanted to get back into it, that's what I was searching for, someone to help me that could really help me. And that's when I met you, and the way you would explain everything, it was just like my Oprah aha moment. Like, whoa, something opened up in my brain where I'm like, I understand what you're saying. I get it. I finally understand it. Whereas I took 1,000,001 classes before. I took Wella classes, Vida Sassoon, I mean, Goldwell. I took every class under the sun, but it still just never clicked. Whereas then when I took your class years later, I mean, I was able to kind of get through and fake it till I made it. And it was not a good feeling. It really wasn't. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, everything's great. And inside I wanted to die because I'm like, I have no idea how I did it for many years. I kind of just winged it. And I was able to have some amazing stylists around me to help me, but no one would ever want to take the time to say, hey, Lindsay, you're using this because X, Y, and Z. I didn't understand that you had to fill the hair. I just thought, oh, just throw brown on the blonde and, you'll be brown. Big mistake. Don't do that. So that's where I feel that so many stylists want to go out and they think they know everything. And you really want to get the right education, and you really want to get a better understanding for things. So if you are struggling, this is the ticket. This is your moment, definitely to look into Elaine's classes, because I honestly don't know where I'd be. I probably wouldn't be doing hair anymore, because I felt so uncomfortable and so many people wanted me to do their hair, and yet I was really a wish and a prayer. That's really how I made it for many years. God, I can't believe I'm saying all that, but it's the truth. I really didn't quite understand what I was doing.
And you're not alone. There are so many people right now. Probably most of the people watching right now are still feeling that feeling of, I'm getting it and I'm getting okay results, but I don't really know. Sometimes it's happening accidentally. We talk, anybody who follows the coffee chat knows that I'm constantly saying like, oh, I just used 19, 9V, 6P,
Yes.
7G. Like they just keep dumping all these things in a bowl, doing the Hail Mary. And it turns out okay, not because it was the right formula, but because a whole lot of things canceled a whole lot of things. And it just, in the end, made it neutral.
Yes. Yeah.
But I got as much from my relationship with you as you with me, because we've been in contact a lot. When you got here, I was like, oh, hey, like it didn't feel like I was meeting somebody new. And I'm sure you felt the same way. Like it just felt very familiar and comfortable.
Right.
We've had many chats where, you're like, oh my gosh, this was so helpful to me. And, you need to create a tool that helps people learn this. And I was like, you're right, but I don't know what that's going to look like. So we had all these like brainstorming sessions, and you helped me a lot to be able to articulate and be visual about. I'm a talker, as you know, like everybody knows, I just sit here and talk for 30 minutes every Wednesday, and I can talk about hair color for an 8-hour day straight and never be tired of it. But I think the difference with you being physically here was, yes, I was still talking, but you were doing what I was saying to do in the moment. Like sometimes you hear something, I can tell you like with glazing, make sure that you do this and don't do this. But then when you're in that moment, there's that moment of hijack of that little bead of sweat that starts at the base of your neck and goes dripping all the way down to your butt crack. I still have it just because I'm in menopause and I'm under a French fry light with an apron on. But it's like, I can feel it. Like I'm talking to the client and I can feel that sweat bead. And I'm like, is that showing on my back? Do I have like a silky shirt on where I'm like soaked? Cause I'm like in the moment stressing, where you're like, oh, you still hesitate with that glaze where you think, I know it should be this, but just in case I'm gonna this. We always just in case. And we always put that one little thing. I did it recently with a VG. You think, wow, Redken came up with a VG. That's awesome, because we've learned recently that Redken's Shades EQ colors have gotten so cool because we all want it icy and silver and all that. But now I almost feel like they pack too much of a punch and we're underestimating how strong they are. And I used a VG on the blonde, and it was like, whoa, way too much and so gray and muddy and murky and gross. I'm thinking it has violet as the primary, which would be my V, and then it has a little chaser of a G. So how perfect, but way too much violet. The hair was super porous, but you only do it once, right? And then you were funny because you're like, oh, no, I'll never use that again. Like you don't want to get to the point where you never use it again. There is a reason for it. But now I'll reach for that if the hair is more orange, even though you really need blue for orange. But if it's that teeter totter where it's like
in
is it yellow? Is it orange? That's when I'll reach for the VG. But I always mix it with, something else or clear. I don't use it alone because it's pretty powerful. But I'm still learning. I mean, it's always a work in progress, and I still have my moments, and thank God for Malibu products that are the quick fix when you get yourself into trouble. So that's the kind of stuff that we're going to talk about. I change up the boot camp we do boot camp November and May, and every time I try to change it up, but I'm actually doing this one again because we looked through the analytics of all the different things we've done. And this particular boot camp, people had the most wow aha moments. So I'm like, okay, we're going to revisit that. And
sure.
Like Johnny did my hair yesterday and he's like, girl, I'm coming. I've been a member for 3 years. I'm coming to boot camp because you always say something new that you don't even realize you say. I'm like, you're right.
It's the truth. Or even, like I said, going back into the library, like I might have missed something. And even how you taught me how to foil, I watched you do that 1,000,001 times. Yet until I did it with you, I really understood, because I'm like, how is she getting it up so close when I didn't get it. And then when I did it, I'm like, oh dear God, are you kidding me? So yeah, there's a lot to be said. But the other thing too is, even before I met you, I knew nothing about like underlining pigment. And then once you broke all that down, I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess
it's a whole little world under there.
Whole little world.
I never was taught that. And I finished school. I was a hairdresser for probably 14, 15 years before I knew what that was. And I was like, how the heck did any of my clients even look somewhat normal, let alone good? Because that underlying pigment, I hear people, the girl that took my place, Jess, when I left the salon to become a full-time educator, she was famous for the N's, 7N, 6N, this one's that, and everybody was an N. And she would say to them, oh, you're just the type of person that pulls a lot of warmth. That's just something that happens with your hair. There's nothing you can do about that.
I learned that. So I started saying that to people. Meanwhile, that has nothing to do with anything. No, you're bringing it out yourself. And that was an aha moment for me, where I was like, wow, that makes perfect sense. Their underlining pigment is coming through, and that's what's making it brassy. So it's you that's doing it, not the color itself. So that was huge.
So you made it through with only 2 smacks. I'm a very physical teacher. I only had to smack her hand twice. I was trying to upload the video of me smacking her hand. It will be an Instagram post for sure, but I couldn't convert the video in time to share it with you guys. But one little thing that Lindsay was doing, and again, she's been doing it for 20 plus years. So it's natural to do that. It's like someone who does this with their hair, or, someone who cracks their knuckles, or like, it's just something that's a repetitive thing. Something as simple as her pinching the hair to put in the foil. Because we're putting the foil straight in, you need to have control of that hair so that your foil doesn't do this. Every single thing that I showed you in person, when the members watched you on the video, that was their exact question. And I love that. Awesome. Because every one of them is doing the same thing you're doing. They're watching the videos in my thing going, how the heck did she do that? And then they're just not trying it. Yes. So they're like, oh, how did she put it straight? Why didn't she feather it up to the root? That was your first question. Why am I not feathering? Why am I not feathering? So everybody's the same. We all have the same issues and questions, but we leave classes with the questions still in our mind and on our heart. I've done it a million times where you're like, they'll say, does anybody have any questions? This is me. So I can't even feel my hand. I keep my hand up, but it's in this auditorium, which I love live education. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely thrive on stage with my little Britney Spears mic. I love the energy of a live audience. Sure. But you cannot get to every single person's question. Where my favorite thing about what I do right now and this membership is I can get to every single question because this is my full-time job, this membership. So there is never a question not answered. And so many people have said to me, my own children included, they're like, Mom, and we talked about this at lunch at the little French bakery. They're like, Mom, you could make this so much easier. You could just jump on Instagram, create a membership. Instagram collects the money for you. It's $10 a month. You could have thousands of people in your membership learning from you for $10 a month. And they do the math, and it's like, I would be earning $100,000 a month, which is insane to me. I can't even imagine that much money. Yeah. And I say, crazy loon that I am, I don't know that the person's getting a result. I'm doing something for 2 seconds on a quick video. Yeah. And it's like you said, you watched me on video a million times, but until I walked you through what piece was missing, you didn't get that impact. So would I be making a lot more money if I did it that way? Absolutely. But to me, and this is just me because it's my life, I think the personal coaching for me is the piece. I think if I took your entire video library away, you would still stay in the membership because it's the personal
Well, that's what I was just gonna say.
coaching.
It's all about keeping it personal, and I think that's what's different. It's not just like a quick click and okay, you're watching a video and that's great and good, and then it's done. You give so much information, and the personal touch for me, that's everything. Nowadays with the social media and just quick click, oh yeah, you're doing it this way, you're doing that way. The fact that you take the time for each person, it's like you're, like I said, it's like you're in school, but you're like doing it at your own pace. You're getting all these amazing, forms and so much more than just a quick little Instagram. Oh, great, she used VG and V and this and that. Okay, great. No, there's just so much more to the whole thing. And the fact that you have these wonderful retreats where people can go and go to Florida and, get these great classes, get these great and get a little vacation out of the deal, and get to meet you and know you on a personal level. People that are doing that, that's great and wonderful. But how many of them
You're freezing a little bit.
No.
You're coming back.
Working?
You're coming back, but it's kind of slow motion.
No.
You're back now. I can hear you.
Okay. So I just think personally, the personal touch is everything. You're getting more. The value is so much more than just a click and seeing a video. And with you and the whole membership, you're just getting so much more. I don't think you'll ever get that anywhere else. It's like you're just kind of going to school and you're doing it all at your own pace, which is amazing. And you can rewatch a video 377 times if you want to, or that's something that you have to work on. And that's what I think I love most, is just always going back to it and referring back to it. And getting all these tips and tricks or things that I already know. I'm still like, let me just double check again. I want to watch a glazing video. I want to watch this video, or I'm working on a redhead. Let me go to the redhead video. There's so much information, and you don't need to do it in 30 seconds. You have the year to go through each video, which is awesome.
So to your point about rewatching things and going back, I just had a member was going to expire a couple of days ago, and I reached out to her and I said, hi, it looks like you're going to expire in 2 days, and I'd love to invite you to the next step, which is next level. A lot of people think, they sign up, it expires, they're done, they're left out in the cold again. It's like, it's an ongoing support thing you can stay as long as you want.
Right.
So I looked at her progress. I can see how far everybody is in the videos. And I looked at her progress, and she was at like 2%. And she was totally done. And I was like, she's not going to re-sign because she didn't even do it the first time. She forgot about it. Yeah. Reached out to her and she's like, oh my gosh, yes. Where's the button to click? So I think she got every bit of information that she needed and more just from the coaching piece versus the library. I think that's what people don't understand. They'll say, I can't afford it. I don't have the money. I'm like, the price of my program compared to what you're going to spend for a 1 hour class that's look and learn in a big, huge auditorium, where you have to look up on the screen like you're in the nosebleeds at a concert, is not going to be the same as this ongoing support. And something that I'm doing different for the boot camp this year, to the topic of, having the question on your heart and in your head. So many people, the whole time this was funny too, my ADD. You're in here doing the hair and you're like, how the heck can you keep up with the comments while you're teaching, while you're demonstrating? I'm like, I can't. That's why so many people are like, I had a question, but it didn't get answered. The print's this big. You're trying to do the head. You're trying to do the thing. So I thought about boot camp this time, and I said, you know what? I want people not only to be able to have the replays for it, to watch it again if they miss it, because everybody's writing, I've worked that day. Could you do it another time? I'm like, there's no time I could ever do it that everyone's going to be off home and sitting in front of their thing. So that's impossible. Yeah. So this time we offered, do you want the replays? Click this button. Do you want just the replays? Do this. If you want the replays and a hearty Q&A after every session, do this. So I believe, I haven't looked at the sheet yet. I believe it's $57. If you sign up free, everybody can come for free, but you have to be there live. You have to be watching it. Right. If you want just the replays, I forget how much that is for just the replays. And then if you want the replays and the Q&A, it's $57, and you own that forever. So the questions, amazing. That's going to be like a
$57.
$500 class, for $57. So I highly recommend that. If you don't think you're going to be able to be there live, you're not going to be able to, be all in. There's going to be a lot of stuff in there you're going to want to remember. So if you don't want to stick around for the Q&A, at the minimum, do the replays, because once the session is over, we take it down, and then you have to wait another 6 months to do it again. But my hope is that the fence sitters and the tire kickers that have been with me, I have people that have been on my email list for 7 years.
Oh my gosh.
They have not missed a boot camp. They have not missed a coffee chat, but they have never joined. And they ask the same questions over and over and over. And they'll even send an email to me personally and have a whole situation. This is my client. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I would love to help you, but you're not helping yourself. I can't sit there and answer you blow by blow as your coach when I'm not your coach. I have a house I pay for.
Yeah, no. And you're not going to get the same thing if you gave them the recipe. Okay, great and good. But you're not understanding the whole why behind why you're giving that recipe. And I think that's what people don't understand. If you get this membership, you get so much more, and you'll get the why, and you'll get the recipe, and then you'll be making your own recipes and feeling really good about them. So I think that's what I know it stinks. You don't want to spend money, especially the way the world is now, but you're investing in yourself. And that's the biggest thing, is that you're helping yourself to grow and be better. And then in all reality, you're going to be making more money because you're more confident, you're better at what you do, and you have the backup. I mean, there's nothing better than that. You want the best for yourself and your business. So I don't know. I think, like I said, this was the best thing that I've ever did. And I said to my mom on the plane, where do you think I would be if I didn't meet Elaine? And we've kind of just looked at each other like, it's just crazy. And I feel like everything happens for a reason. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me. And now that I'm able to be doing hair and working everything around my kids, and having you as a mentor and to look up to, and just having it all, I just feel so blessed. So it's just awesome. So I think anyone should definitely, join the membership if you can do it. And even if you just start taking, like, every client, put $10 away, put $20 away, just that little bit, and you won't even miss it, if it's something that you want to do. And there's nothing better than investing in yourself. So.
Well, I could not have said any of that better. And I so appreciate you as well. One of our members actually had a client buy her the membership. She was talking to her client, and she was like, I really like this girl. I like the way that she teaches, and I want to sign up, but I don't really have the money. And she said, how much is it? I'm writing you a check. And because other people believe in you sometimes more than you believe in yourself. Like, they saw they're like, what? That's so affordable. But when we're in it and we're like just making our rent, if we're a solo suite, or if we're like just scraping by, and when people say to me, I just can't, I don't have the money, I think, it kills me, because I say, you don't have the money because you haven't gotten the education, and you're not getting the education because you don't have the money. It's like this total. When I signed up for life coaching, I was like, oh my gosh, that is an insane amount of money. But I was in so much pain and so much conflict with what to do for the next step. And I look back and I'm like, I would spend that money for coaching 5 times over, because that was the push that I needed. So sometimes we're penny wise, pound foolish. We'll walk around with, a designer handbag and then say, I can't afford a hair class, and then you're not making the money to pay for the handbag because you didn't pay for the education, you paid for the handbag. So
it's hard to take that leap of faith, but you have to do it, and you have to believe in yourself, and that's the biggest thing. Sometimes it's hard to take that leap, but once you do, you won't look back. It's just incredible. And if you want something to better yourself, that I would definitely recommend it for sure.
Thank you. And I know you have to get to work. I kept you longer than I promised, but thank you. I love and appreciate you. And I thank you for doing this.
Really quickly though, I will say too, if you want, the book is amazing. I just read it again on the
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Another little nugget. It's amazing. But thank you so much for everything, and thank you for it all. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. And thanks everybody for watching. Have a great day.
Bye.